On today's video, I'm going to talk about my open heart surgery experience. As a disclaimer, I am not a doctor and I have no medical training. This is my experience and what I have learned. Hi, my name is Tim. I'm 36 years old and I am on a journey to get healthy to live a full life. I had open heart surgery in 2020 and I wrote notes to create this video, but never found the time to do so. So I'm playing catch up. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have open heart surgery? If so, stick around to hear about my experience. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel to follow along on my journey. Be sure to hit the bell notification so you get notifications when we post new content. All right, let's get my experience underway. My open heart surgery was on March 4th, 2020 at Tufts Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts. First topic, getting ready. I didn't get much sleep the night before. I was really worried and I thought I might die. I even recorded some goodbye videos to my friends and family.
If something happens to me, then look, watch this video. If not, please don't watch. If you're watching this, something bad happened. I really hope it doesn't. But I just want to say, I love you both. Ronan, you're gonna grow up big and strong like your dad. Hopefully you don't have these issues, and mommy will take great care of you.
I was told not to eat or drink anything at all before my surgery. I couldn't even have water. I stopped most of my medications because they would give me what I was needed in the hospital. I had to use this special soap to wash down my body for the last 5 days. And this AM was the last time I would really need to use it. It was to make sure I have no bacteria on my body, since they are cutting me open. The last thing, which I thought was odd, they told me not to shave my chest. I guess it can cause bacteria and other issues. I had to be at the hospital at 7 a.m. My wife and parents came with me. I took this picture when I arrived at the hospital. I waited in the surgery waiting room. I filled out a series of paperwork, which included insurance paperwork, a healthcare proxy, and a questionnaire. Let's talk about how I felt going into the surgery room. I was feeling very nervous. I didn't show it. When I feel uncomfortable, I tend to laugh or crack a joke. Like right now, I'm probably smiling. They told my family where the waiting room was and how to check my status on a monitor. So when they called my name, I walked into the back room. There was tons of beds, lots of nurses and doctors. They made me take off all of my clothes and place them into a bag. And then I had to put on a Johnny and lay in bed and wait. A nurse came in and shaved my chest. They put in a master IV line. I talked with my surgeon, assistant, and the anesthesiologist. My wife and parents were able to visit me one at a time. I was able to FaceTime my son at that time and get all of his kisses. They gave me some medication to relax me, which I think it was called Valium. I rolled down a very long hallway into a back room. When I got into the room, it was very cold, considering I was just in a Johnny. I got put on a flat, skinny table. I was like falling off, it felt like. And I looked to my left and I saw a saw and surgeon tools everywhere. And then all of a sudden, everything went black. Surgery. My surgery lasted 6 hours. They took care of my obstruction and fixed a valve. My dad walked down the street to a church while he was waiting to say a prayer, while my wife and mother waited to hear the news. I woke up in the ICU a few hours later to my family standing over me. I talked with them a little, I guess, but I don't really remember any of that. The biggest thing I remember is having a breathing tube down my throat, a major IV in my neck, 2 chest tubes in my belly, 2 pacing wires in my belly, a catheter. Not so much fun. I was on a lot of drugs. I felt sore, but I really couldn't move very much. I just really wanted them to remove the breathing tube. It was so hard to breathe. And when they did so, I felt like I was choking. Someone in my family snapped a few pictures of me laying there. Thank you, whoever that was. It's a moment I didn't really understand until I saw the picture. They had to use 2 metal plates to hold my ribs together. For weeks, my right breast really hurt. They explained because they had to push my bones up. They must have maybe ripped a few of my muscles, and that's why I was having the pain. I had one nurse dedicated to me the entire night when I was in the hospital. The nurses removed my breathing tube, and a lot of phlegm came up. I was choking on the tube, and that is why they removed it. The next day, March 5th, it felt like around 1 a.m. when the meds started to wear off, and I felt the full pain. I told my friends and family that it felt like death for the next 24 hours. I think they gave me morphine, which made me feel fantastic instantly, but then provided me with other medications, which would last longer. I had some rhythm problems also. My heart wasn't beating normally, so they literally had to attach my pacing wires to a device which put me into a normal rhythm overnight. They hooked me up to lots of bags of medication. They gave me Tylenol every 4 hours. Pain control, they kept asking me what my pain level was between a scale of 1 to 10. The first night, it was like a 15, then slowly went down. When I left the hospital, it was about a 6 or 8, but I was able to deal with it. My heart was slow, so they used the pacing wires to speed up my heart all day. While they were pacing my heart, they put me on oxygen. Now that it's morning and the sun's up, they replaced my bandages. When I was urinating, I felt this burning sensation. So they went ahead and removed the catheter. Thank God. But I did have to get assistance to get up to go use the restroom. I was in pain, I was very sore, and I couldn't lift my arms. It was really hard to breathe. I had to exercise my lungs consistently, and my lungs were sore because of all the chest tubes that were in the way. And of course, my lungs were collapsed because I was on a life support machine during the surgery. So that means my heart and my lungs were essentially turned off. I don't know, kind of weird to think about. All day I felt very weak. I've never felt this way in my entire life. The catheter was removed, but after that I had to start measuring my urine. They gave me lots of laxatives. I had to walk to the bathroom, and I had to get help every single time. And I had to get help getting in and out of bed. And I had to get help going to the bathroom and getting in and out of bed. It was very hard to sit up on my own. I sort of had to roll off the bed. I wasn't able to push up or off with my arms. So the power bed came in handy. I had to stay another night in the ICU because my heart was still not beating correctly and they were pacing me back into a normal rhythm. So they had to monitor me very closely. I had another bad night though. Everyone talks about how the general anesthesia made them nauseous. For me, I never really got that feeling, luckily. They gave me a bucket anyways. I was able to eat a little bit, but not much. Sleeping was really hard, so my Bose headphones came in handy. They helped me clear out all the sounds in the room. I strongly recommend bringing a pair of noise-canceling headphones if you plan to get any sleep in the ICU. The next day, March 6th, I was able to get up and I started walking around. One thing they never tell you is what sneezing feels like. It's a total blow to your chest. They gave me a little pillow to push against my chest when I would cough or sneeze. But those sneezes come so randomly, so I was never prepared. Later that morning, the master line in my neck was removed. It was like a small needle like in my arms, but this needle was huge. It went all the way down to the top of my heart, and it felt really weird being removed. They then had to bandage me up because they were afraid of me bleeding out. Also, part of that was a pressure monitor line, which would measure the different pressures in my heart. Late in the evening, I was transitioned and moved to a step-down unit. The moment I got there, I sat in a recliner chair because I was so sick of the bed. They put me on a medication called Lasix because my legs were getting really swollen and they were filled with fluid. I was able to get up and use the restroom myself. I didn't have to call for help anymore. That night, they made me start using my sleep apnea machine to help me breathe. I was able to start eating again, but I had to follow a really strict cardiac diet. And then I went to bed. March 7th. That morning, the chest tubes were removed. To be honest, it was just really weird feeling. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it just didn't feel right. But the pressure went away very quickly. Those tubes, they would drain into this sack, and it looked like this bloody liquid mess. It was nasty, but it was all the fluid that would build up around my heart, and they needed to remove it. And that was the best way to do so. I was awake when they did this. I had to walk around a lot with assistance from the nurse. The more I walked, the faster I would get out of the hospital. My first walk, I used a walker. The second walk, I used a person on my arm. And then I was taken off Lasix. March 8th. Pacing wires were removed. I was awake for this also. These were attached to my heart. The feeling was like a zing. I don't know how to really describe it, but it was a little painful. I got to take a shower finally, talked with my type 2 diabetes doctor, and found out how I became a diabetic. The nurse required me to walk up a flight of stairs to prove that I was okay to leave. After that, I was released.
There he is. He's on his way out. This poor girl has to push him all the way up the stairs.
I was only in the hospital for 4 nights. They gave me the option to stay an additional night, but I chose to go home. My dad picked me up, and I sat in the back seat the entire drive home. I used the heart pillow they gave me as a barrier between my seatbelt and my chest. It felt bulky, but it worked. I went home with metformin for my diabetes and some type of pain medication, laxatives, and heart medications like beta blockers to calm my heart down. Overall, the biggest thing about recovering was the soreness. Not being able to sleep on my side, not being able to do anything, lifting my hands over my head to get dressed. When I'd walk around, I could feel my ribs moving. So I'd walk baby steps consistently. The shower was painful, but in the end, they set me up with a visiting nurse so I wouldn't have to come into the hospital often to get checked. Thank you to my wife, family, friends, and coworkers for all the support. I would also like to thank all of my nurses and doctors who did an outstanding job making me feel so amazing and comfortable in the hospital. COVID happened like 2 days after I left the hospital. It was perfect timing. So I wasn't able to really attend cardiac rehab right away. I had to wait quite a while, but I did get approved to go. And it was a great experience. And if you have the opportunity to go, I strongly recommend it. I am very happy I got out of the hospital when I did, because COVID-19 caused the hospital to go on lockdown the following week. They stopped all surgeries unless it was an emergency. So today, I could be living with this condition in full effect still, which makes me feel like I have an angel watching over me. Once again, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I look forward to creating more of these videos in the future. Also, in the coming weeks, I'll be getting my VSG surgery. So, wish me luck. All right. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you for sticking around and watching this full video. This is your life. What are you doing with it? Let's just get up and start working out together. Bye, everyone.